Many people have asked us over the years about why our products look the way they are, why they perform the way they do. What are the design considerations? What is the design philosophy that, of what dictated how the product, looks and operates? And what we've done is we had to consider the environment that our users operate in. We had to consider the needs that they have, that some of the special concerns that they have, and what they need to look at. And all of these variables get factored into the design. Even what technologies we use is a factor. For example, we're heavily reliant upon cabling to get the signals, the video image from the camera to the display. There's a reason for that. And what I'd like to do today is maybe explain a little bit of the thought process and why we've made these decisions that shape the products the way they are today. One of the primary areas of the design philosophy involves wireless video. We often get a lot of questions about that when people look at our design. It's has a wire, and they keep asking us, why don't you use wireless? And plenty of people do, but there's a number of concerns that we have, and wireless does have its place. We do offer wireless as options. However, it's not inherent in the design. You don't need to use wireless to make our system work. You don't design for a best case scenario. You design a system for a worst case scenario. In a worst case scenario, wireless doesn't work. Maybe you're getting interference from a nearby transmitter, or radio station, cell tower. So at that point in time, you're resorting to use a wire. In many of the systems that rely on wireless as the primary means of transmitting an image from the camera to the display, the wire, they can use a wire, but it's an afterthought. It's plan B. With us, it's plan A. A wire is always going to work. It's never going to get jammed. You're not all of a sudden using the tool in a different way because of your environment disallows you to use it from the way it was intended or the way you trained with it. Wireless can easily be detected and in many cases be intercepted. Now easier than ever. And this is a big problem because you don't want a third party unrelated to your department or your unit to be able to view the video that you're seeing, which is meant for your eyes only or your team's eyes only. And that's what can happen very easily. Especially with the analog video, a lot of the analog systems out there are using frequencies that are consumer electronic-based systems that are, for example, they're no different than a baby monitor that you'd buy in a Toys R Us. Where, as a matter of fact, I've heard stories where baby monitor video was picked up on these systems. Where you're looking at the monitor, they shut off their transmitter on their tactical surveillance camera, and all of a sudden they're seeing a baby in a crib. This has actually happened. Now, the thing is, you can see their baby monitor, but you got to remember, they can also see you. And these days, especially, there's a lot of technology out there. I have one right here. This is something, I'm not going to mention the brand or where I got it, but it's a tool. They're readily available. This will scan the full spectrum of video transmission and allow somebody to view your video in real time. Now, if I could be a member of the media or somebody else who shouldn't be seeing this video, come up on scene and turn one of these things on, which I have in my pocket, and even record the video so that it can be viewed at a later date by people who unrelated to the mission. That's no good. The last thing you want to do is have a second set of eyes down the road, learning about your tactics, maybe second guessing your approach to solving a problem. It gets very messy and ugly. It's not what this video is intended for. It's a liability. Interception is one thing, but the video can also be detected very easily with nothing more than an iPhone. I happen to have an application right here. It turns my iPhone into a wireless detector that can pick up signals that are being transmitted from transmitters in nearby proximity. A wire, you don't have to worry about it. No one's going to see it but you. It's not going to be intercepted. It's not going to be detected. It can't be used for other things, and you're secure. And the way you train with it is the way you use it in the field. What happens is we end up designing a lot of pieces of our product that a lot of other folks just integrate consumer electronic components into their design. So they end up with products that are not really going to hold up. We take into consideration all the factors that I stated, the dirt, the moisture, the debris, the shock, and we have to design and manufacture other parts of our system that other people just buy off the shelf. As an example, the collars on our poles. When we evaluated other collars that were available off the shelf, they were breaking all the time or they didn't hold properly. We ended up designing our own collars out of a very resilient material that would do the job and hold up in sand and grit and rain and moisture and shock if it was dropped. Some of our other competitors, for example, they'll use a painter style pole. Well, there's a problem with that too. They end up drooping more than they do. The pole isn't rigid, so it's very hard to maneuver, especially when they get very long. And additionally, the dirt and the grit gets in there and makes them even worse over time to the point where they don't hold their position. Some of our other competitors have poles that they piece together. They can add sections and add sections and add sections. The problem with that is that a connector is probably one of the primary causes of failure in any electronic design in the field. What we try to do is try to minimize the number of connectors in the system and thereby decreasing the probability of failure from an electrical problem with a connector failing. You have to be prepared for anything, and our products are designed with that in mind. You can just take it, you can use it in the rain, you can use it in the dirt, and it's not going to get affected. Is it indestructible? No, it's not. There's design considerations where you have to prioritize, evaluate, and make compromises. And what we try to do is just hit that center line where it's very rugged but still affordable. Batteries also are a primary source of failure in the field. When you need a piece of gear and it's battery powered and you pull it out of the case, a percentage of the time it's not going to work because the last guy to use it didn't charge the battery. So the more batteries you have in your system, the more chance you have for the system to fail as a result of the battery being discharged. So what we do is we minimize the batteries required and maximize the battery options that you have. You can use our internal battery. You can use an external, what we call our D-cell battery pack, which uses standard disposable alkaline D-cells. We can use DeWalt batteries, 5590 batteries. So we have a lot of options for powering our system beyond just the one battery that's used internally. And this helps ensure that when the product is needed, that you'll find a way to use it even if the batteries are discharged. We're very proud of the fact we have one of the best displays on the market. It's a 5.7-inch color display. It has the highest resolution you can have in that form factor for composite video. It's daylight viewable, and the contrast and dynamic range of the display are excellent. You can see the small details that can often mean the difference between life and death. The other thing we've done with our display, there's a trend these days with modern displays to have menu-driven settings where you have to control your contrast, your brightness. These are things that you need to control when you're using the system, but they're nested. You have to press buttons to access the values to adjust. With our system, we have knobs. The reason we do that is, A, it's intuitive, plus when you're on a job, you don't have the luxury of the time to lose focus of your surroundings to make a minor adjustment to your display to see better. You can't start tapping and indexing till you get the contrast and adjusting it up or down and then going back and adjusting your brightness. It's boom, boom, boom. As I mentioned, the latest trend in these displays is to embed all of these features into these controls that are not intuitive and not easy to access quickly. We try to design what we call a modular system, taking a modular approach, because there isn't any one specific tool that is the Swiss Army knife for tactical surveillance or law enforcement applications. Depending upon where you need to look will dictate the form factor and the technology required for the camera on what you need to see, how you're going to visualize it. So what we've done is we've created what we kind of jokingly refer to the Sears Craftsman approach to surveillance, in that we have interchangeable camera heads, we have interchangeable poles. You can go from a 30-foot pole to a 2-foot pole, one with an articulating head, one to a flex head, to a cable reel, to a thermal camera, to a video scope, to a immersible low light color camera. Everything is a module, and what it does is it allows you increased capability without having to completely invest in a new system to do one more thing. So that's what this Vision Flex technology brings to the table. The other thing that we've done is we really strive to be backwards compatible with everything we've done in the past. As a matter of fact, I was recently in touch with our very first customer who bought our first system, and they're able to use our latest camera that we just developed. We're talking about a customer that bought a system from us 14 years ago, and it'll plug right in and they can still use it. So these are the kind of things that we considered when we came up with the overall approach to how we do the Zistos product design. There are many things to be considered. We try to consider the environment, who's going to use them, the risks that the customer has to deal with when he's using them, some of the other concerns that they have that most people wouldn't even consider. For example, the video interception and detection. They all boil down into a system that ends up being very secure, very reliable, and reasonably affordable for the job that it does.